Birchbark Box Part II. So you have 4 stencils at your table. You have the lid rim, the bottom, the box body, and then you also have the top stencil that we used when we traced it on the tin foil. You also have decorations, so you have some beads and some feathers and leather scraps that you can use to decorate your box. Your first step will be to trace the top stencil, the bottom stencil, the box body stencil below that, and then your lid rim stencil on your birch bark paper. I labeled the places that I traced just to keep track of which is which. And then you're going to cut the top out. That's the larger circle. You'll cut that out first. Make sure to cut slowly and carefully. And then you'll take your tin foil that you have already tooled with your petroglyph symbols, and you're going to cut around the circle, but you're going to cut about 1/2 inch around the circle, so not on the line. So you see I have about 1/2 inch around that circle that I had traced before. Next, you're going to take your top that you've already cut out and put a bunch of glue all over it, and you can smear it around with your finger. It's a little bit messy, but it works kind of like a glue stick then. You can flip your tooled metal down and then lay the top paper on top of that. You can line it up with the circle and then just smooth it out carefully. Make sure you don't push down your designs. And then to fold over that excess foil, you're going to add a little glue to the back of the box lid, and you'll just fold over the foil carefully. Then you'll just write your name. Next, take your lid rim, that's the smaller rectangle, and fold about 1/2 inch along one edge. Next, you'll do the same thing with the larger rectangle. You'll just fold about 1/2 inch. You don't have to measure, you can guess. Then it's time to decorate. So I'm going to put this red feather on my box body. And then I might put some leather on the lid rim. You should still be able to see the birch bark somewhere on your box, so don't cover up all of the birch bark texture. It should still look like a birch bark box, but add some decorations to jazz it up to make it look a little different than everybody else's. You can also cut out excess tinfoil, so tinfoil that you had when you cut out your tooled petroglyph metal tooling. So I'm just going to glue down some tinfoil circles. They kind of look like mirrors. You can also use colored pencils to add designs. I'm adding red lines to make it look a little bit like porcupine quills. And you can also color your birch bark textured paper to make it look a little bit more realistic, like actual birch bark. So you can add some of that peach color or browns just to make it look a little less black and white. You'll want to write your name on each piece you cut out. And part 3 is put the box together. So when we want to put our lid rim onto the top of our box, we're going to make sure that that fold is still there, and we'll cut small slits along the fold, just the fold. Try to make them as even as possible. They should be pretty thin, kind of like a fringe. There's my fringe. And then you'll take the lid of your box with the metal that we just put on the lid top, and you'll take your lid rim and you can just practice how it's going to look to make sure you got it right. So the little fringe tab should be pointing inward, not outward. And then you'll take some glue and you'll put it around the top of your box to attach the lid rim. And you can smooth it out with your finger again if you'd like. That seems to make it easier to attach. And then you'll just start with one side, one end. The trickiest part is just getting it started. Sometimes it doesn't like to stay. And the key is to just hold down for a few seconds and then keep going. And if you have any loose spots, you can always add more glue, but it's better to start with less glue first. You'll see me holding it for a second and then I keep going. And sometimes I have to adjust things. You'll want to make sure that your lid rim doesn't go past the top of your lid. We don't want to be able to see the fringes when we have our lid on our box. So we're almost finished. You can add some glue then to the side of the lid rim and then on the inside to get it to stay together. And then you'll do the same for your box body. You'll take the fold that you made and then you'll cut your fringes along it. Then take the bottom of your box, the smaller circle, and add some glue to the outside, just like we did for the top of our box. And you'll do the same exact thing. Get it started, press it down, hold it for a few seconds, and then keep going to make that circle. Last step is add the glue to the inside and to the side of the box body. And then hold it down. This part tends to not like to stay, so you might have to hold it for a minute or two in order to get it to stay. You can press down on the inside. Make sure that fringe is really glued down. And there's the inside of the box with all those fringes glued down. We make those fringes so we get an even circle around. If we didn't make the fringes, it wouldn't make a very good circle. You can see the bottom of the box then. Looks like birch bark on the bottom. And then test out your lid once you have the bottom of the box made. And it looks like a good fit.